just say I do.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Behind the Veil, a show that provides insight into the world of weddings. I'm your host, Keith Willard. Welcome back to the show. Today, we're going to continue our whole series about Wedding 101. These are the basics of wedding planning. So if you're planning your own wedding or you're planning somebody else's wedding, these are the things that you're going to really want to pay attention to. And today, we're going to be talking about floral and decor. And there are so many things that are going into today's world of floral and decor. Recently, there was a study that said that you have 1/10 of 1 second in order to make an impression upon your guest. Wow. That is a lot of pressure. So today, luckily, we have an amazing guest. Her name is Jacqueline I'm going to mess this up. Jacqueline Morgan Van Montague, who has been actually on the show before. So we're excited to have her back on the show. But before I introduce her, let me introduce our co-host, Marcy Gutenberg, with An Affair to Remember by Marcy. Hi, Marcy.
Hi, Keith. How are you?
Man, it has been a crazy time here in South Florida.
You have been quite busy.
Oh my God. You know, just last week, 3 weddings in one day. And that's not my thing. I don't like to do more than one event a weekend. So, you know, and the fact that all 3 went off perfectly was a real achievement to me and my team. So I just want to say, I'm going to brag on my team a little bit. So congratulations to Keith Willard Events for doing
Congratulations. And happy birthday.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, boo. Anyway, and then of course we have the Brooke Loganstoner, the always gorgeous Brooke Loganstoner. Hi, Brooke.
Hi, Brooke.
Hello, everyone.
Oh my goodness! So you were part of the craziness of last weekend.
I was in the fold to cut.
This was a carryover from 2020, right?
Yeah, so some of these were from 2020 and some of these were new. And of course, we try to make sure that we create everybody's dreams in the current world. But, you know, sometimes it's a little tough, you know. But especially now, when we talk about centerpieces and decor in today's world, there's more behind the scenes than ever before, right? I mean, you guys know, we know that there's flower shortages, that there's labor shortages, that there's, you know, even like truck drivers. We don't have enough truck drivers to get things from point A to point B. But, you know, weddings don't want to hear about that. Brides don't want to hear about that. They want to say, oh, what's pretty? Give me what's pretty.
I want what I want.
I
want it yesterday.
And I want it yesterday. But you know, the thing is that, you know, and here in the wedding industry, especially South Florida, we continue to produce that, and we continue to make dreams, you know, brides' dreams come true. You know,
we do our best, honest to God.
Well, and we really do. And so today's guest, hold on, let me bring her on. Jacqueline, I keep screwing up your name because I'm just used to saying Jacqueline Morgan. So Jay Morgan Van Montague has been in the industry for 30 plus years here in South Florida. I've worked with you for over 16 years. You've always come through, shockingly, with things. I mean, oh my God! Have you ever seen and the industry in the kind of moment that it is right now?
Never. It is absolute craziness right now. I mean, I'm willing to trade anyone who's got gold spray paint out there.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give 2 teenage girls in exchange for gold spray paint. There is not one hand spray paint at any Home Depot in North America. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I think on eBay, you can get it for like $45-50 a can. But
wow.
It is stupid. I mean, if we had been talking about like saying gold spray paint was going to be $50 a can, you'd be like,
who needs Bitcoin when you can buy shares in gold spray paint? Like, it is honestly unbelievable. And if you can get hold of the product, it's then the shipping cost and everything getting delayed and everything's floating in a barge in the Pacific or the Atlantic. That's all I keep hearing from so many of my vendors. For the dry goods, for the flowers, the prices are through the roof. I mean, it's just so competitive. Some of the flowers are like 2-3 times what they typically are.
And you also have to pray that you're going to have the shipping company who's using a delivery company
Yeah.
You have to pray that they're going to deliver it. I mean, and there are things that I've had to reorder for
Oh.
not just my business, for personal use. That I've had to reorder because things are not coming through. They just do not have the manpower to support their businesses right now. So it's really a frustration, but we, as I said before, we try our best.
I'll start filtering my gold solder for you, Jacqueline, and I'll give you the gold speckles.
Yeah.
Can they use nail polish? I wonder.
Don't
Rich.
tempt me. Don't tempt me.
I'm telling you.
It's just crazy. I mean, a couple of weeks ago we had an event and the flowers, unfortunately, it was a last minute event and we couldn't get the ivory roses. Normally I can buy them absolutely anywhere. We ended up having to get them from 4 Whole Foods in order to fulfill the order. I mean, it was a very short minute event and now we're getting our orders in like a month in advance because this one was like, 10 days in advance, but it is very, very challenging. Very, very challenging.
So when you're so now, I mean, obviously this is a much different world than when, let's say 2 years ago before COVID. So when you're meeting with a client now, what do you think are some of the most important questions that a client should be asking of their florist now versus 2 years ago? Like, you're meeting with a brand new bride, right? And I know that you always say, like, what's your vision? What you thought, what your colors are. So what really should be their questions that they should be asking their florist?
Can you definitely get it? Like if there's something you're obsessed with, like for example, like white peonies, get them to double, triple check that they can definitely get them and be open to possibilities that stuff is going to get stuck in customs or isn't going to come through. You have to have some flexibility. I mean, it's just really difficult to get some products and we're all trying our hardest. I mean, we spent all day yesterday trying to get a pink floral spray paint. Again, we don't know where it is. Everyone's like, oh, we can get it for you in December. It's like, okay, my event's in 2 weeks. I mean, right. It's just really, really difficult. So just be very flexible and have the things that mean the most to you. So if you've got, 2 things like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with this bouquet. I have to have this bouquet. Then do that. But with other stuff, you just have to have some flexibility because we really want to bring our clients' dreams to fruition, but some things are just beyond our control. So bear in mind that we're all working double, triple time to come through for our clients, but sometimes it's nothing to do. If there's a lot of shortage of gold spray paint, we might have champagne instead. I mean, just pay $28 for a can of champagne spray paint. They should go to $3.94,
Well, and that's the thing is that I think that, we're having to think about other things besides flowers for our centerpieces more than ever before. I mean, flowers used to be kind of the big piece. Like, we knew that hydrangea was the alcoholic of the family world, which you are famous for talking about, by the way, Jay Morgan. I'm just saying.
Oh, they're not the Irish side of my family. They drink and drink and drink.
Right. So I actually use that reference all the time to my clients.
I've heard other people use it after I say that.
I know.
We can still get a lot of flowers. Give more notice. So, rather than before, I could do with 2 weeks notice. If I can get 4 weeks notice, I'm probably going to be able to get 90% of the flowers. And then if there are changes, we'll tell you, this one, the ranunculus isn't coming in. How about we use an exanthus instead, or we use a spray rose and trim it in a certain way or certain varieties to give you the overall look and vision. But you have to have some sort of flexibility.
Right. And that's the thing is that I think that, the flowers that we used last year or the year before last are not the same flowers that we're going to be using this coming year or the year after. I feel like, that there's some changes coming in the wind, so to speak, that the workhorses that we used to depend on, like hydrangea, are kind of like, let's not depend on them because they may be on those shipping craters that are sitting out on the port of Miami right now. And not being able to get into the flower stores that we're used to.
Yeah, no, definitely. With some of them, we're lucky because most of it kind of comes by air cargo for the flowers. It's the dry goods is much harder. So the dry goods, you've definitely got to have flexibility on. I mean, oasis. The other day, I'm doing something with pampas grass. So you use a different type of oasis, which is the green foam that we use for dried flowers. So it was stuck in a cargo. It finally, docked. And I ordered one box because normally it comes packed, 36 bricks of it. And this one was packaged differently. So when I got there, it was smaller. Well, I kind of had to use a bit of cleavage action to kind of get an extra box. And that's kind of what I mean,
I love it.
to get an extra box for my clients. And we really, really want to make our clients' dreams come true. And
before the underlines thank God for Jacqueline's cleavage.
You gotta use what God blessed you with, right?
Yeah, plenty of things, trust me. Eating tickets, parking tickets, dry oasis.
You keep them at the dock, I'll work on the suckers.
Wow.
At this point, with gold spray paint and pink spray paint too.
Well, it's interesting that you even brought up Oasis because my mom lives in Key Largo. So she lives like mile marker 105, some in that area. And then the house, like literally 2 down from her, belongs to the great grandkids. Now, mind you, great grandkids of the inventor of Oasis. So not even the grandkids.
Wow.
Not even the great grandkids. The great grandkids
Wow.
are still living off the money from the original Oasis like inventors. So and believe me, not a cheap neighborhood. Not a cheap neighborhood. And and they have the best face in the neighborhood. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm just saying, I mean, holy crap.
We couldn't do our job without it. I mean, that's like the sad part. And, we're buying, normally we never had a problem getting the product, the dry goods. And now we're trying to, like, I'm looking towards the end of the year going, okay, what do I need? How many cages do I need?
Right.
And, sometimes I'm having to adapt and come up with, like MacGyvering a lot of stuff. I mean, I swear I would not be in business if it wasn't for zip ties and duct tape.
Right? Oh, 100%.
Everything together. We're sitting there MacGyvering stuff with zip ties, and you have to be creative, especially in these times, more than any time before. We're sitting there going, okay, we can't get this. What can we use? And it's a challenge, but challenge keeps you on your toes, I guess.
So what is the number one enemy of good floral decor? Like, so you have a bride that's in front of you, right? What is the number one enemy of getting her dream to fruition? I mean, is it Pinterest? I hate to say that. Is it Pinterest, or is it her friend's advice? Is it the mother's wedding that she had when she was 19? Like, what are kind of the number one things that kind of get in the way of putting together the bride's perfect wedding?
Okay, it's a mix of all those things, but more than anything, it's budget, probably. I mean, I always say to my clients, figure out the look that you want, give me a Pinterest board. And I love Pinterest. I know some people in the industry absolutely hate it. I absolutely love it. If I can see the vision that my client's going for, I can see what is cohesive and the whole overall look, and be like, okay, on this one I see that you like fluffy flowers, on this one I see that you want a little bit of pampas grass, for example. Like, let's merge these together. But so I would say coming in with a Pinterest board is the best thing ever, but then also coming in with a budget, saying, okay, this is the overall look that I'm after, but this is how many tables I need, this is how many bridesmaids, this is my must have, like I must have this chuppah or what have you, but this is my budget. And if we're not open and honest with your vendors, we'll sit there and we'll go, okay, all right. So your dream is going to be, let's say your budget's 10,000. Your dream wedding is 15. Okay, let's start chipping away at some of these things and figure out what the must-haves are. You want this dream chuppah because that's where you're going to take a lot of family photos. So let's keep that. Maybe take out some of the aisle decor or reuse centerpieces down the aisle. So budget's really, really important. And just being open. Sometimes people used to play games with the budget and say,
Right.
My budget's 5 and really it was 10. But, in today we're so competitive. We have so many, I'm turning down brides every day because, Epic Floral Design that I work with, we limit how many events we do in a day. If it's
Right.
a good sized wedding, you'll be the only bride of the day. So we are literally turning down brides every week because we've already been booked for that date. So if you're open and honest, and if you trust us too. So I think definitely being open with the budget, open with what the must-haves are, and like each other and trust each other. Because when we love our client and they love us, it's like a little love fest that goes on, and I'll do anything, even give my 2 kids away for gold spray paint. It's my mom always said you get much further with sugar than you do with vinegar.
Right. But okay, so what is the number one thing that you feel like it keeps people from discussing their budget 100% truthfully? Because where do you actually go? So if let's say that you've never been in the wedding industry before, right? So you have zero idea of like what flowers, what flowers cost. How do you even go about putting together a budget for somebody that's never been in the industry before?
Okay, so what I always suggest to my clients is figure out the overall budget for the whole wedding. And then from there, 50% typically goes to food and beverage and the venue. And then flowers is somewhere typically between 10 to 20%, depending on if you want tall, extravagant centerpieces or if you want something, lower and less food. But
Right.
you know what the budget is. And then just say, okay, my whole overall budget for my whole wedding is, 100,000. So that would say my flowers are somewhere between 10 to 20,000. I would prefer to be at 15 because I feel more comfortable there. If you tell me that, I will come with all of these amazing ideas and go, okay, I know you wanted this, but this is going to give you a very similar look, but without the cost. Like if we eliminate certain flowers or eliminate a few things, that's really will be the best advice.
Yeah.
I have
okay.
a question for you,
Go ahead.
Jacqueline. What should the budget percentage be on flowers for the wedding?
So I would say between 10 to 20%, depending on how crazy you are. But it also depends on the venue. You can't, if you've got a very plain, simple venue, you can't really go with like a low centerpiece. Or if you've got very high ceilings, you can't really go with a low centerpiece because people walk in and they're like, If you walk in and you have some high centerpieces, you walk in and you go, holy shit, that's beautiful. And everyone's jaw hits the floor. You don't have to have it on every table, but if you have one big wow impact when your guests first get to the wedding, whether it's a place card table, and they walk into the room, holy shit, that's the best.
So Jacqueline, there she goes. I was like, sooner or
Not
later,
again.
yeah, I know. Oh my goodness. All right. So Jacqueline, if you dial back in, please, so we can get you back on the screen, that would be amazing. So, I think that one of the things that Jacqueline was talking about is that, it is a much different world today than it was a couple of years ago. I feel like that people have to be much more honest about their overall budget than they were a couple of years ago. Because before, let's say 5 years ago, 6 years ago, there was a game that was played. Like, oh, let me find out what your budget is so I can see how much I can charge you. And that's not the case anymore because, florals already cost so much. It is now reversed almost. It's almost like, oh my God, how can we make sure that we get you as much as possible with your budget? But you got to tell us what that number is. You got to tell us what that number is because we're not going to be able to make that happen for you unless you keep us informed. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I think that, even the closing rate for meeting with clients and then closing the piece of business per se.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot higher because, I mean, you're really honing in on finishing out the detail for that client to get what they're looking for. And they don't have to go shop around and so forth because they're being honest, we're being honest, and it's a win-win situation for everybody because we want our clients to be happy and we want them to be excited about their wedding. You know, we just want to provide them with the honesty of being flexible. You know,
Well, and you know, I had this last weekend I had three very different events, 3 different florists. And to be honest, all 3 florists like literally did as much as they possibly could do with their budget. I mean, there was moments that even the florist was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make any money out of this. They're like, oh my God, there's so much going on in the world of flowers. I'm not 100% sure that I'm actually going to make a profit. But you know what? It's more important to me that the bride is happy than it is for me to make a profit off of this. And I thought, wow, what a change in the industry to say, I mean, we've always been obviously review focused. Let's just say review focused. But now it's even more than ever. It's like, you know what? I'm okay with making less per job as long as I can make sure that the bride is going to make as long as the bride is going to have an amazing experience.
Right. Within means. I mean, there was a financial responsibility that we have as a business to keep our companies in business. You know, so there is a financial, you know, a fiscal responsibility that we do have.
Right. But before I feel like that we're all kind of skimming along the top, so to speak. You know, we all are doing that. I mean, I know that I provided a lot more labor this last weekend than I would have normally, done if I was able to be at every single wedding, right? But because I wasn't, I wanted to make sure that I had the right kind of labor at each of the other spaces. And it was rough because I'm a
workhorse, honey. It takes usually 2 to do me. So,
but there were moments that I went, oh my God, I'm actually paying more money than I'm making off of this wedding just to make sure that the wedding goes perfect. You know?
Exactly.
And by the way, Jacqueline keeps trying to reconnect. We're having some issues with her reconnecting, but we're going to keep trying. So, Marcy, let's talk about this. When we're talking about in the event world, because you are obviously on the forefront when it comes to weddings and invites, right? So people come to you first before they go to any of us for this because you're the invitation. Yes. Have you seen a difference in what people are doing when it comes to their weddings? I mean, has there been a shift in the conceptualization of their invite?
I think people are much more open. I do think people are more understanding that because they are seeing this in not just on the media, but they're also seeing it when they're going in the grocery store and, all the labor shortages and the product throughout the country. I mean, it's not just in the store, it's you go to a restaurant, you go to Home Depot, you go to all these different places, and the shelves are starting to become more empty. So the idea of planning ahead early has definitely been a shift where people are coming to me earlier. So I have noticed that quite a bit.
So I just had this discussion literally last night. So the idea was, is it an ask or is it a tell to have your guest either be vaccinated or tested before they come to your wedding? Do you do it as an ask or do you do it as a tell? Right. And so one wedding, we did it as we are trying to do our best to ensure that we protect all of the guests that are coming to our wedding. So we're asking that all of our guests either be vaccinated or tested at least 2 days in advance of the wedding, right? That was the ask. The other wedding was a tell. Like, we are asking that everybody that's coming to the wedding be vaccinated or tested within a couple of days and provide proof of such at the time of their response for the wedding. Wow. I mean,
That's harsh. I mean, it's not that it's harsh. It's just, I guess it's a matter of your personal, what you can live with. What can you feel is a comfortable place for you as the host?
but you know, I mean, think about that. I mean, the language, the difference between
Yes.
I don't know, even 6 months ago and now is, you know what? We're not even asking. You got to tell us. Screw you. You know, we have grandparents that we were trying to protect.
Right.
And so if you're not vaccinated or you don't have a test 2 days before you come to this wedding, we don't want you. Bye.
You can ask, I mean, I've seen people ask, you know, if you are not able to get vaccinated or prove that you've had your test, you can also word it a little differently by saying, you know, we ask you to attend virtually.
So I think that's the approach.
Which is it's a harsh approach,
Either way
but
you do it.
it is, you know, when you want your most closest family members there and present,
Right.
you have to make a decision as the host. And the question is how far do you want to go with that?
Well, and now we have Jacqueline Morgan Van Montague back with us. Hey, Jacqueline. Yay.
Hi, Jacqueline.
She's like, I don't have to do. You know what? I don't have to deal with all this. All I have to do is pretty.
It looks like you have a better connection now.
Yeah, much better
I
connection.
live in Jupiter, so but I don't normally have issues, but I guess I did today.
No, much better, much better. But okay, so you know, we were just talking about kind of the harshest realities of wedding planning and some of the invitation issues that are coming up with current worlds. You know, when we were talking about this, I mean, there are people that are having to redo their ideal of what their wedding is from 2020, 2019 to now, right? So are you seeing that on your side of it, like people readjusting what is important to them as far as floral and decor?
Definitely. I think some people before were going to have a wedding of like 200-300 people, and now they're making it more intimate with maybe 50-60 guests. And they're splurging more on the things that matter to them, whether it's like floral and decor or paper good because they want like a beautiful box invitation, going with like, you know, an amazing band or wedding planner. They're splurging on things that maybe before they couldn't afford to, but they have to be under, you know, divided into 300 people. Now they can kind of pick some more things to spend it on.
So what do you feel like is like kind of the number one thing that people have switched their ideas to? Because before, I have to tell you, so when I'm talking to my clients from, let's say 2 years ago, that we're doing their invites and their event planning from, you know, before COVID to post COVID, they're more important on the, you know, their focus is on the experience of the reduced amount of guests that are coming. So where before it was max capacity, right? 250 people, 300 people, 400 people. I want 400 people to have this like amazing over the top, holy crap moment when they walk into the ballroom. And now they're saying, I've got 100 people, but I want them to have the experience of a lifetime. I want them to talk about the fact that the chef came out and spoke to them, and I want them to be able to, you know, choose their own, you know, shrimp or fish or whatever. You know, it's just a different focus now. Is that kind of changing also over to the decor piece?
Okay. I think we've got small weddings. We have.
All right, so we're still having some issues with Jacqueline, but okay, so let me ask the both of you. I mean, because both of you are involved in the wedding industry, right?
Yes.
So, you know, we've been seeing some changes. when it comes to the wedding industry overall is that, you know, it went from kind of this like grand 3, 4, 500 person event to 50, 75, 100 people event. I mean, it is a massive shift in the event industry.
Definitely. I think that, what I see on the front end is that things have gone in the way of quality versus quantity. Whether or not, I mean, over the top in the way of, as you said, guest list, what they were serving and so forth. But the
Right.
quality now is just, I mean, it is precision as best as you can get. It's like it's like walking in a fine dining restaurant and having that beautiful, elegant experience for your most closest loved ones who you
Right.
want to be at your wedding. Versus before, it was over the top in the sense of, you know, having a lot of people partying, all the experiences were there, but now it's honed in. I think it's honed in a lot.
I think it went from
What's your
more
feeling?
production down to like more intimacy, where they've put more thought into it
Right.
than like the just normal production that we're used to. I think that's the biggest shift I think that I've seen happen with them. Is that it went from more of the production and the pageantry of it to more intimacy and more thought process about certain parts of the wedding or the reception itself.
Well, you know,
The focus has shifted, I feel like.
well, so the wedding that Brooke and I just did this last weekend. I mean, originally it was supposed to be, so it shifted from like 400 people to 60 people to 200 people. Like it just kept moving back and forth, right? And the thing is that as it started reducing in numbers, we realized that there was more money in the budget to do other things. So we had the opportunity to do,
And did we do everything?
right? Oh my
There was
goodness!
more this way, I think, than
we did
everything.
a customized neon sign. We did a customized dessert station. We did a customized band, like all these things that we wouldn't be able to do based on 400 or 600 people that we were now able to do at 150 people. And I feel like it was a much better wedding overall because we were able to do all these incredible things based on the reduced number of people.
I think guests also, when they see things like that and they see all the details that are there, those are the things that they remember because it's not often that you get to experience something so detailed. And that's what they walk away with, remembering for years.
Well, okay, so now that we have Jay Morgan back with us, you know, the florist that was working on this last wedding, he was able to do these like disco balls. I don't even know how to describe it because it was so incredible. I mean, the fact that each disco ball could be like separately lighted and each table, I mean, it was incredible. Like seriously, it was like no, like these like LEDs that were shot from above and the centerpiece. It was like the Studio 54 like on acid. It was amazing. But you know, the thing is that we wouldn't have been able to do that if we had 400 people. There's no way. I mean, the amount of effort that it would have took to do, 40 centerpieces versus 20 is massive.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jacqueline?
I think people in wow moments and wow statement pieces in their wedding. So we have a wedding coming up in a couple where we have this whole flower wall for the place cards that's like just totally different. The couples from South Africa has like part of a tree in it and what have you. And people wouldn't have done that if they had 300 people coming to their wedding. So people are definitely picking like those holy cow, things for their wedding. Because they have to have an unusual experience. They want them to walk in and go, holy cow.
Well, and I think that's the thing is that, we're trying to make an impression on fewer people. So, where before we would be worried about that 1/10 of 1 second when people walked in to see the big ballroom, right? Everybody's like, oh, okay, done. All right, I've made my decision. I don't think that the response is so simple now. I feel like our clientele is more attuned to the overall experience that they were before? Because before it used to be, oh, big florals, big lighting, big band. Oh, done. Oh, I amazing. And now it's about the nuances, the nuances of the event. Did I feel special? Did I feel unique? Did I feel like I was personally taken care of? And that's a big shift from what we dealt with before.
Definitely. I think people wanted to feel like, I remember Oprah Winfrey threw a party many years ago, and each table, they had a way to come at the same time, and everyone got their starter at the same time. Like, people want that white glove service, which is something that we specialize in, which is why we only do one wedding in a day, because we want to be able to give that white glove service to our clients. And I think more people are looking for that because now they are having fewer guests. And I've had so many clients say that they really want to feel like it's an intimate luxury like dinner party where everyone feels like they're personally invited. They, their thoughts, they were kind of taken into the bride and groom's like thoughts, the process of, oh, my guests are really going to enjoy that. Whether it's like, we're going to have a rehearsal rather than a regular rehearsal dinner, we're going to do something special that goes back to our family roots, or each guest has like a little bouquet of flowers that's like tucked into their napkin. Those are the little details that I think everyone's going crazy for, because they do have less people that they have to do it for. And everything. And everyone's, I think, fed up of being cooped up. Now everyone's like, let's just get a simcha going. Let's just get a party going. Let's just get stuff done, Everyone's fed up of being cooped up and they just want to celebrate. Life is so short. Let's just have a good
time. I love this. I have to tell you, I do. I love this. I love this shift of more personal experience versus mass generation. We can all go to a Kenny Chesney like concert or a Madonna concert. We're one of 10,000 people in the stadium at this concert. Or are we going to do like an intimate dinner for 100 people where Madonna plays? Right?
She's still gonna be 2.5 hours late, no matter what.
Well, exactly, 2.5 hours late. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is that
that's
I feel
why I'm
like
never on time.
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's the difference that we're talking about now. We're not talking about mass appeal. We're not talking about this big, like over the top, open the ballrooms and flashy and big lights and oh my God. We're talking about nuances. We're talking about, oh my God, did you see this setting? Did you see this gorgeous silverware that is sitting on either side of my charger plate? Did you see this floral centerpiece? I mean, it's different. It's different now.
It really is. I mean, some of the details that people will go into. I mean, I was at Atlas a couple of weeks ago, Atlas Party Rental, and I swear every time I go there, I'm like, okay, I'll take a dozen of everything. And I want to go with like a really big bag so I can just like, pinch everything. But
right.
we're doing a mock centerpiece like setup of, what we were going to show to the client, when we did their flower sample. And some of the linens and the silverware, I mean, like black silverware, who would have thought?
So good.
New charger plates, like all these new things that are coming in, that have come in, not coming in, have come in off of a barge, so they have them in stock. And it's stuff like that people aren't going for the gold beaded. Everyone's like, okay, I want to try something different. My cousin Susan had the gold beaded. Let me do something different, because now I don't have to go with the typical and the basic.
She didn't have the black cutlery.
Right. I have less people, so I don't have to deal with the gold beaded. Fuck you, bitch. I don't need that gold beaded because I got a third of the people that you have, so I can spend the extra $3 per charger.
And that's it. People are really, really doing that. Even just like the walk, like for certain weddings we have coming up, the walk from when people arrive down to the ceremony.
Yes.
We're doing like shitloads of candles. We're doing draping, stuff that people would have never thought of before because they had 300 mouths to feed. Now they only have 100. It's like, let's just go to town. Let's make it so the second they walk out the car, they're like in a wonderland. They're like, holy shit, where the hell am I? I've never experienced this before.
Well, and that's the thing is, I think that we're trying to produce an experience that people have never had before. Okay, so and of course now I'm getting excited because like I'm waving my hands like a
Flailing around, honey.
Yeah, I'm flailing. I'm flailing.
Flailing around.
Anyway, yeah, right. So we have a wedding coming up, and that we're at the Red Koi Gardens in Homestead. Oh my God, so excited! Oh my God, I'm so excited because this is like this cool Japanese kind of cool outdoor atmosphere with these trees that cover. And I mean, we're going to be doing tables with hanging candles that are coming from the trees over the guests to give them this truly unique, holy crap experience. Magical. Yes. Magical that we would not been able to do before, because before we were going to be at the Botanical Gardens in Miami, and God bless, we love Miami Botanical Gardens, but they don't have the same access to the individuality that we're going to get at the Red Line Koi Gardens, right? Yeah. And so that's what I'm saying, is that we're becoming a little bit more specific about the individual guest experience versus before.
Absolutely. And I'm excited about it because, we love, as artists, we love to think outside the box and come up with new ideas. And and when we banter, I always say it's like a joint effort between, us, our clients, our wedding planner, and, the immediate family members. We're a team, we're working together, and we bounce ideas back and forth off of each other, and it evolves. I mean, you've heard me say this 1,000 times. It's like decorating your living room.
Right.
I know it's such a spiel, but it's honestly true. Like, it's like decorating your living room. You start with a couch and you get an area rug and you get some throw pillows, from Accent Decor. Like, you get all these elements, and then you hope you kept the receipts or something because you find something. Layer upon layer from when you start with your invitations. I mean, I won't do a sample for somebody until they've picked their invitations and they've picked their bridesmaids dresses. Why? Because once you have those two elements, it really dictates the flow of everything else. It really, really does. And I refuse to do it until they have those two things, because otherwise they do a sample and then they pick a different invitation, and now it has, monstera leaves or tropical leaves on it, and now the whole vision is changing. So it's all about being cohesive and just giving people that experience from the second they get the invitation to when they walk out. Whether we had a client once, and it was so cute. They were teachers, and they met in when they were doing their training and everything, and they had milk, like little milks that you had at school, which I always hated because I hate milk, and the cookies. And they had those as like their favors. And it was like, just from the moment you get the invitation to the moment you leave and you're waiting for valet to bring your car, like all of these little details is what makes people go home and, go, oh my God, that was so cool. Not like a little bag of like the sugared almonds. Like nobody wants it.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying, is that I feel like we have gone back to the basics when it comes to weddings, because I feel like that there was a moment in our time that we were like, okay, let's get into the individual experience. Like, what makes us unique compared to the wedding next to us? And so, like, Marcy, I know that you're working on a client of mine that has like kind of an alligator like feel to the invite. I mean, we are so specific about this invitation because we want it to be kind of a precursor to their like experience that they're going to have at the wedding. Like, it was meant to be a moment of, holy crap, look at this invite. And
it's a black crocodile feel.
Yes.
And look, and it's a beautiful look. I mean, it's very.
All of a sudden I see bags and shoes.
Yeah, really.
I'm seeing like cool vases and containers wrapped with fake alligator leather or whatever.
But the idea is that you would give your guest a precursor, a little taste of how incredible their experience was going to be at this wedding. Right? Exactly. This was going to be the moment of like, wow, if this invite is any indication of what the wedding is going to be like, we're in for a trip. Man,
it is literally the first tangible item that your guest sees for your wedding. Best way to describe it.
But now we get to, because that's what I'm saying, is now we get to, because before, when we were trying to fit 400 people into this budget, we didn't get that chance. We didn't get that opportunity to say, okay, let's, you know what, we're gonna like we're gonna up your invite, man, baby. We're gonna make sure that shit is good, and we're not gonna do the same thing for your centerpieces. We're gonna make, your centerpieces are gonna be an ice cream cone with a big ball of flowers on top.
Mhm.
But now we get to say, no, your centerpiece is gonna be like, bitch, I got you.
Exactly. And there's so many, and it's getting to know your clients. That's why I think liking each other is so important.
Right.
Once you get to know your clients and you find out more about them, you find out how they met or what their silly quirk is between them, or where he proposed or she proposed. We've had a couple of clients where she proposed. Like, once you know these elements, it's like it makes us think outside the box and go, you know what? Maybe he proposed outside, at an alligator park. I don't know, and it'll be like, okay, well, how about if, you brought in a container with the alligator print on it, or, the napkin had it, or you just like, your mind starts to go. And that's what makes our job so much more exciting. We don't want to do cookie cutter. We did cookie cutter,
years ago.
Yeah, years ago. And
let's do something different. Let's think outside the box. Let's come up with some really cool shit.
Well, and you don't want to go to one event and then go to another event and have the same thing over and over. I mean, you want 100%. Your guests to have something totally different, because you want them to walk away with a different experience. Otherwise, it's basically, redo.
It's Susan's wedding, just a different shade of pink.
Well, and it was interesting because, again, 3 weddings this last Saturday, and I was like, oh my God, I hope everybody walked away with this interesting, unique experience. And every single time I got a response from a client, they were like, oh my God, it was the most interesting. And I love that when they say interesting, the most interesting event that we've ever been to. Oh my God, amazing. But that's what I'm saying, is that as we move forward for these events, I feel like that our job actually gets a little harder and harder, because our job is to make it interesting, that each event is going to be not just the invitation, but the chair, the place setting, the napkin, the centerpiece, the lighting, the band, the decor, like all of these pieces build on top of each other to create a truly unique moment in somebody's life. To say on October 31st or October 30th, I went to this wedding and I experienced this.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, wow, right? Wow. Holy moly, wow. And then as event planners, and on the other side of this, go, yeah, we created that shit.
Exactly.
We created that. And we made sure that you had the most amazing experience of your life, and that people associated it with your wedding.
Exactly.
I think the biggest aspect in all of this for us is, in the event side of things, the event planning side, I think the biggest aspect is communication and listening to your clients.
Yes,
absolutely.
And I think that, some people just weren't really into that before. And it's given them, I think it's honed that skill a little bit more clearly for some people.
Well, what I feel like you're seeing now is that you're seeing like kind of the dividing line. So because we have more weddings than ever right now, I mean, and we really do, there is so much business out there right now that you could literally stick your finger out in the wind and somebody would say, oh, I need you as an event planner. Okay. Right. I mean, seriously, it's crazy right now. But, I feel like that this is the time that we differentiate ourselves between us and the masses, right? Us, as we want to make sure that your guests have the most amazing individual experience that they've ever had until this point, right? Versus the ice cream cone centerpiece, right? Right. The ice cream, the trumpet vase with the big ball of like hydrangea on the top, right? Ice cream cone. I feel like this is now the moment that if we as vendors pause to say, my artistry counts. This is what I've this is what I wanted to do all my life, is to create something totally unique. take that moment and take that opportunity.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Wait until somebody says, you know what? I want you to do this for me.
exactly. No, I think and that's why I always love to do like a sample meeting with our clients, because that way we can bring in different linens and different containers and different lighting colors, because, you know, most people just do amber. And sometimes just by changing one thing, by changing the linen or the lighting color, you go from like oh, that's pretty, to holy
shit.
What is that? Like, damn, how did that, you know, going from a white basic linen to, you know, a black linen, how did you transformed? I didn't change the flowers. I just changed the linen, and it changes the whole look of an event. And I think that's why it's so important to trust your vendors and to work together, banter back and forth, try stuff. I mean, we call our samples a play date because we play around. You've seen it, Keith.
I love it. I love your play dates. I love your play dates. It's one of the few things that I look forward to actually when it comes to wedding planning is the play date. It's the tasting and the play date, because then we get to have some fun. We get to have some fun with you. We get to have some fun with the chef, right?
Exactly. And, you know, we play around. I have a couple of wild cards that maybe the client was like, about. And it's like, you know what? Let me bring out these black feathers. I know we didn't, you know, you're a little cautious, but, you know, you have to see it to believe it sometimes. So I think being able to do a play date and really play around, and when everyone's loving it and jumping up and down, we take the photo, we put it in the photo, write all of our ingredients out. It's teamwork, because, you know, sometimes you'll have, I remember once we did a wedding and the grandma came up with something too.
Grandma, I remember grandma.
Oh my God. She had this idea. She's like, well, how about if we did the crystals this way instead? And I'm like, I've never done that before. So we sat there, I played around with the crystals, hung candles a different way to what we typically do. And grandma freaking helped design the centerpiece. Who would have thought, you know? No.
But now she gets to be a part of it. And that's the thing, is that now you've got the family part of it. You know, and then when you have these amazing companies like Events on the Loose, like, you know, because we've done some centerpieces there where we went to the Events on the Loose and built these tables with the samples of the centerpieces with these extraordinary materials that you wouldn't. I mean, like literally this last weekend we used a dairy cow. I mean, what?
Yes.
A dairy cow. What? Everybody was like, "You are." I know, right? It turned out amazing. But you know, the thing is that the bride was really into these dairy cows, and so we used that as a kind of motivation for her photo booth. And it turned out amazing. Oh my God, so amazing. But if this had been a traditional wedding, let's say 2 years ago, I wouldn't have done it, because I would have been thinking 300 people. What is the most efficient way to get the overall vision based on 300 people versus 85?
Exactly.
I mean,
and now she gets to say she has Bessie the dairy cow at her wedding.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Cool. But that's what I'm saying is that we have an extraordinary opportunity right now to help our clients do something that it would not be possible at any other time in history, ever. No. Right? And we're not even talking about 2 years from now. I feel like in 2 years from now, this opportunity is going to be lost. Because we're going to be back into the world as usual. Right. So as many things that come up as roadblocks, as far as like number of people that are already booked, number of places that are already booked, number of vendors that are already booked, there's also the possibility of finding those truly creative, unique locations, people, vendors, etc., to make your wedding truly remarkable. Truly. And you just need to be able to trust in the people that you have with you.
Absolutely. It's a lot of it, I think, definitely comes down to the trust level and the likability between everybody.
Oh, it has to be. You have to absolutely trust the people that you're working with. I mean,
you have to. If you wouldn't bump into them at the food mall and sit down at the same table, don't hire them. people. Like you want to enjoy them. You want to look forward to all of your meetings with them, rather than like, oh God, do I have to go to Jack again? Oh my God, I don't want to work with her. I want my clients to be like, oh damn, I'm going to Jack, and we're going to do the flowers, and I'm going to bring a bottle of wine, and
we're going to hang out, and we're going to discuss, and we're going to have some fun, and let's see what
that's my
come up
fantasy with you,
right? And that's what we're going to come up with. Oh my God, what are we going to do?
Yeah, I mean, I've had grandmas bring like falafel balls that they've made, and matzo balls, because I told her my matzo balls weren't big and fluffy like Bubby's, so she bought me matzo balls. I mean, but when you love your clients, you go so above and beyond, and they come back to you, and they know that you've got their back. And when that's the
thing, is that you have to absolutely believe that your event planner, your florist, your invitation person, has your back.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that we are absolutely want to make sure that your day was amazing, because we get to resell that shit. I mean, it may be the first time that it's ever done, but I'm going to resell that. No offense, but I'm going to take that memory, I'm going to post it on Instagram, and I'm going to sell that shit. So,
somebody sees Bessie the cow, you're going to have all these inquiries. Everybody wants Bessie the damn cow at their wedding now.
Or next it will be a chicken.
We went with a donkey once.
And
a donkey around and stuff.
Well, because I even remember that we did a wedding way back at the W, and I don't know if you remember this, Jacqueline, but we did a wedding for I won't say anyway, and I loved her. She was amazing, but very A-type. Holy crap, A-type. Okay. But she wanted to do a silent disco at the end of her night. And I was like, really? I don't want to do a silent disco. And she had a big picture of her chihuahua that she wanted everybody to carry down to her silent disco. And I was just like, oh my God, what? But
that was before Brooks Sonner, by the way.
It was totally. But then when I saw the video and the photos of her carrying the big, picture of her chihuahua on the way down to the silent disco and your amazing centerpieces, I was like, oh yeah, I need to like open my mind a little bit and go, okay, you know what, she had some really creative ideas that I need to be more open to, and since then I have been, because it was a class for me to keep myself open to suggestions.
And it's hard because we get so used to knowing what works.
Yes.
And stuff has worked so long. It's like, everybody having rose gold and ivory with blush flowers and a touch.
Yes.
It works. Trust me.
Yes.
If you want a beautiful wedding, I can make one of those in a couple of hours, and Bob's your uncle, you're married, you're golden. But if you want people to walk in and be like, damn, what the hell happened here? Then give creativity, banter back and forth, tell us about your lives, because that way, when we hear that you've got this, crazy little chihuahua, we'll work with you. We'll go, okay, what can we do? I mean, we've made carriages. You know how you see the crazy old people?
Yes.
People pushing their dogs in the pram, stuff like that. We've done those things with flowers because this chihuahua came to every freaking meeting. Or wasn't chihuahua, something else, something fluffy.
But because we know what works. I mean, at the end of the day, if you really look, I just need somebody to tell me what works, done. All right, ivory, rose gold, ivory, roses, blah, 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 done. We got you, done.
Yeah.
But if you really want something unique and interesting and individual, come to us. We got that too. We got you.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's what's so important. I always say I want people to walk into a wedding and go, that's so whatever the couple's name is, not, that's just a different shade of pink. It's just atypical. You want it to have some of their personality in there. That's why I always like to get to know my clients. And also how they live their lives. Like everyone was at one point before, everything happened with COVID, everybody was picking like a Pinterest wedding and like plonking the hat on of like, okay, I want this wedding because it's on Pinterest.
Right.
Okay. Is your house boho? No. Are you covered in tattoos like this bride? No. I've been in a teepee. No, why would I do that? I only stay at 5. You want people to walk in and go, this is them. So you want to ask questions. Like I always ask if a client's like pulled between stuff, like what is your dream couch? And they look at me like, why are you offering to buy it? And I was like, hell no. Like, is it leather? Does it have round edges? Is it loads of throw pillows and blankets and snuggly? Or is it like very modern? Because when you can get inside your client's head and figure out who they are, you can go on forever until they ring you back.
Well, and that's the thing, is that we have to get into our client's head to say, not what you think should be your goal. Who are you actually?
Exactly.
Right? And that's the hard part. It's like, what do you see on Pinterest or on Instagram?
Don't sell something your family knows you're not, girl.
Right. Who are you? And let's make that happen. Oh my goodness.
And we also don't want to overwhelm them either. I mean, we want them to enjoy the whole process. Mm-hmm. So we want to be able to get who they are, to provide them with the best materials that we can to enhance their look.
Oh my God, Jacqueline, you were awesome. Oh my God, I had such a good time on this conversation.
Sorry,
I'm just saying, it was so much fun. I just literally, obviously, the last half hour we're like totally into it. I'm like, oh, let me get into your face about this. Anyway, so seriously, I just. What a great conversation. I just love it, love it, love it. And I think that more and more people really need to just face up to what makes them unique and individual and lean into it.
Embrace it.
It's you. It's your wedding. Oh my God. Please take this moment to really show who you are as an individual, and don't give a shit about what is happening on, from prime time from 6 to 8. Don't give a shit on what is trendy on Instagram or on Pinterest. Nobody cares.
Get into the 60 minutes over here.
Right? Exactly. Let us help you showcase who you really are, because at the end of the day, everybody that's coming to your wedding is coming to your wedding because they love who you are, not who you think you are.
Do you?
Right?
Exactly.
Jacqueline, thank you so much for being on Behind the Veil. Mwah, I love you so much. And again, thank you, Marcy Gutenberg, with An Affair to Remember by Marcy. And of course, the always gorgeous Brooke Logan Stoner. So we will see you next Tuesday at 2 o'clock. But for now, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Okay.